Kamiko is not a long game, it's not a complicated game, it's not a visually sophisticated game, and none of those are meant to be knocks against it. Kamiko is a cheap eShop title on the Switch. It's out in Japan. I grabbed the Japanese version. It's available this week in North America and Europe, and it costs the equivalent of $5. And Kamiko, without a doubt, knows what it wants to be, knows what it aims to do, and knows what it wants the player to experience. And for what it is and for how much you pay for it, I think the experience is pretty damn great. So Kamiko has a very little bit of story to it, which I won't spoil here. You get a little bit of exposition in the beginning, and then very, very, very tiny bits throughout, and then a little bit at the end. So if you're looking for, you know, big, heavy, detailed story, you're not going to get it. But actually what you do get is, you know, more philosophical and might actually have you pondering some things, especially when the game's over. But you're not really into this for story. This is purely a gameplay experience, and Kamiko, like I said, is very straightforward, and I can really appreciate that. So here's the gameplay loop in Kamiko. You run around, you hit enemies with your weapon, and when you hit them, they blow up into little blue dots, and the little blue dots fill up a meter on the top of the screen, and these blue dots let you do certain things. They let you do a special move, and they use up some of that meter. Also, there are chests that you need to open to get items, and these chests require you to have a certain amount of blue dots. So you might find one that you need 50 blue dots, and if you got the dots, you open it up and you get the item inside. And you just keep replenishing the blue dots by fighting enemies. And you'll get items that level up your meter so you can carry around more blue dots. So, you know, I don't remember what you start out with, but later on you get higher up in the hundreds for how many you can carry. And enemies will constantly reappear on screen. So if you clear out a section, you could run like, you know, 10 steps away to another part and enemies pop up and you clear those out. And then you run back and the enemies from the previous section are there again. So it's obviously done on purpose because the game doesn't want you to ever be in a situation where you need blue dots and you have to go far to get them. So, as long as you can get past clearing out enemies and having them reappear almost instantaneously the next time you return, you should be okay. And that's the main mechanic as far as what you do. So you run around and getting dots, and you're looking for items that will open up the path to the exit. So there's going to be like orbs that you can get, and orbs need to be placed on certain pedestals, and then there's, you know, keys, stone keys that you need to get that fit into certain locks, and then there's some slight puzzle gameplay as well, where you're going to need to figure out how to push blocks or push certain buttons or reach an area or stuff like that. So, again, nothing overly complicated, but what is there is really fun, and it's I can't stress enough that it's a pure gameplay experience. This is 100% about gameplay. It's not meant to be complicated. It's just supposed to be something you can sit down, pick up, play for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, and then put it down, and then come back to it later. Something I really appreciate in Kamiko is the fact that the game doesn't tell you what to do. The game doesn't shove things down your throat as far as where you need to go and what items you should be checking out and what each item does and stuff like that. And it's not because I have the Japanese version and I can't understand it. The Japanese version has an English option. It's because the game wants you to figure out what to do on your own. So when you're wandering around, you have to find areas that you need to access and figure out how to get into them, and find out what items in the environment will help you to do that. And again, this is something I feel a lot of games today don't do enough of. They hold your hand so much, and I am really frustrated by that. I'm playing the game. Let me experience the game and figure things out. If I get stuck, then let me go into a menu, or let me talk to somebody specifically in the game that can help me out and give me details on where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to do. But Kamiko, yeah, you're on your own. You have to figure things out, and there's nothing that's, you know, mind-bendingly difficult, and no puzzles that you're going to be stuck on for weeks on end. There will be some things where you're like, I wonder how to get there, or I wonder how to reach that item, or how in the world am I supposed to press this button? And, you know, you'll play throughout the game and wander around a level, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. I see this thing, I need to take this there. Or, oh, I figured this out. I wasn't paying attention to this marking on the ground or something like that. So, you know, nothing majorly difficult, but there are the moments where you need to stop and think about how you accomplish something, and I really like that. I know the visuals and the soundtrack aren't going to be for everyone, because there are people who aren't into chiptune style music or retro style graphics. So if those aren't your thing, you're not going to like the overall video audio presentation here. For someone like me who does appreciate that, the graphics are absolutely fine. It can look pretty. It can look pretty sometimes. I think it has a few scenes and lighting choices that look really nice. It's nothing mind-blowing, and it didn't blow me away, but it got the job done, and I think it had some moments where it shined. On the other hand, the soundtrack I really enjoyed. I really like the music that's in the game. I think the chiptunes are really good, and they do a lot to bring back memories of short-looped chiptunes from back in the day. So there's certainly been games over the years, in recent years, that use chiptunes, but you know, they're grandiose songs that go on for 2 minutes before they loop or something like that. And these aren't really like that. You'll get like a minute or less of a loop, and then it loops over again. So it seems like the approach to the audio was very much in step with what games used to be like, which was because of software limitations. So, but that's why those tunes really stick in your head. I mean, how many fans of games today can sing a whole bunch of different Mario songs or Zelda songs from back in the day, because they were quick tunes that looped over and over again, and they just stick with you. They were so good that they stick with you, and a lot of the stuff in this game I feel is like that. The official soundtrack comes out this week, I think, if it's not out already, and I'm really looking forward to it, because I really think this chiptune music is top-notch. I really enjoyed it. Fits the levels well. There's certainly different vibes to each song. You know, some are, they all have some, they're all more upbeat, but there are some with some songs that are a little more melancholy based on the stage that you're in. But yeah, visuals, you know, I'm totally fine with, but soundtrack I think is fantastic. The controls couldn't be any simpler. I mean, you move around with the joystick and pretty much you hit things with one button, and every other button is run. And that's a big part of the game. You can run, I mean, there's 4 run buttons, I think, where you just hold it and your character dashes around the whole level. So if you're a man on a mission, you can get to where you're going very quickly and just dash around or through enemies if you're hitting them. So there's not much of the controls, but I will tell you that they work really well. They're super responsive. They do what they need to do. And I think the fluid movement of the character, there's something about it that feels really good. The way you move, the way your character moves based on the joystick. It's not, I guess it's not how I expected it to be. When you look at this type of game, you expect maybe something more rigid or something, something that's more like based on grid movement or something like that, where your character takes very well-defined steps and, you know, stops, and something, you know, along the lines of more classic Zelda games. But this is very smooth, very fluid, move in every direction smoothly. So there's no, like, you know, 90-degree turns or anything like that. You just go where you want, and when you hold down the run button, it's just a lot of fun to run around like a maniac. Just something about it's hard to describe. It's something about the controls, but I really like it. But yeah, they go with the rest of the game. Not overly complicated. Do a really good job of giving you a way to do what you need to do, and they're easy to understand, and you get a handle on them in the first minute of gameplay. So like I said, Kamiko is a short game. You can beat it, I'm sure, in under an hour, depending on how thorough you're being. But I finished my first playthrough, it was like an hour 17 or something like that. And you have 3 characters to pick, and I haven't done the other 2 characters yet. So I'm basing my experience on one full playthrough of one main character. And there's an option on the options screen that's just all question marks that I imagine will open up once I play through the game with the other 2 characters. And the best compliment I can give Kamiko is that I want to keep playing. I am going to play through with those other 2 characters just because I enjoyed the game that much. So there's something to be said for a game that leaves you wanting more. I definitely feel Kamiko doesn't overstay its welcome by any stretch of the imagination. I wanted to be around longer. I wanted to have more content. I feel like this is just a taste of what the developers of the game could do. So I'm hopeful people pick this up and really dig it as much as I did, because I would love to see a sequel. I think it's a fantastic game. Great price. Definitely a throwback to how games used to be, and I mean that as a compliment. And what's here just feels good. It's fun to play. So hopefully, like I said, people will check it out. I loved it, and if you do pick it up, let me know, because I want to know how you feel about it. Hey guys, RMC here from Go Nintendo. If you like what you saw in the video, why don't you give us a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe? We'd love to have you. If you want to see what else we're up to, you can check out GoNintendo.com for 24-hour Nintendo news. You can visit us on Facebook at Facebook.com/GoNintendo. You can check us out on Twitter at Twitter.com/GoNintendoTweet. And we're even over on Instagram at Instagram.com/GoNintendo. I put all the links in the description just to make it easier for you guys to follow. Thanks a lot!